look over the minutes? Questions or a motion, if we did?
Make a motion to approval.
I will second that.
Okay.
Do that.
Oh, wait, let's see. Am I supposed to start this time around, or you get,
You can start the e-vote.
okay,
Does it give you that ability?
let's see. I'm trying here.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
so if you could click for the
There
mover
we go.
and second. Thank you. All right. I thought I clicked yes. Did it not take it? There we go. It still says waiting on Collins. I'll just go ahead and click in the vote. Is that
There
okay?
we go.
Very good. They are adopted. Thank you. And Ken, I believe you said we don't have any agenda changes for the evening?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, very good. At this point, we have an opportunity for anybody that would like to address the commission on something that is not on our agenda. Does anybody want to address the commission on something not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward then. Let's go directly then to the public discussion. Go directly to the discussion items, and Ken, if you would lead us into
Yes.
that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. The first item here up for discussion tonight is a tentative parcel map for the Pilot Travel Center. The application that's in front of you tonight is to subdivide about 16.92 acres into two parcels located at 1501 North Jacktone Road. It's in the C4 Highway Service Commercial District. The purpose of the subdivision is to divide the vacant area of the site. If you could can you put up? There you go. So there's the Google map of the site there. This is the vacant site that's been vacant since it was built. It's currently for sale right now, the vacant portion of the site. The intent of the original site plan back in the 1990s when Flying J came to town was indicated on their master plan for a hotel use there at that site. So that was a future phase for them that they wanted to accomplish, and they never did build anything there. So basically, like I said, the vacant portion is up for sale at this time, and so the Flying J is looking to parcel it off so it can be sold for a development project. Any development project, obviously, that's proposed for the site would come back in front of the Planning Commission at that time for approval. There is no other conditions necessarily being put on the project. Everything's in the staff report for conditions. We would kind of reserve some of the conditions until we do see a development project, not knowing exactly how to condition the project until we see what's coming. So at this time, there's no extra conditions being put on the project, but we will look at those in a future date as well. So we did forward the tentative parcel map application onto affected agencies, and we did incorporate any of the comments that we received into the staff report here that's in front of you this evening. So this time I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Discussion, guys. Any questions for Ken?
Is there a buyer already lined up?
I believe the buyer is possibly here tonight, so you have a buyer. You also have the engineering company that's put the tentative parcel map together for the site. So they are present this evening.
Very good. We could open it up and hear from them if anybody's interested in hearing from the potential buyer.
That'd be great, thank you.
Would you like to address the commission? Sure. Please take the podium here and state your name and address.
Good evening, Sean Samaniego, MCR Engineering, 1242 DuPont Court, Manteca. Here to represent my clients, Mr. Dill and Mr. Sidhu, with the potential of parcelizing this project. With the vision of it being highway service. We don't know what the underlying use is, but it's highly likely they're gonna pursue a hotel site here. We just confidentially can't say what that is or at this point.
Very good.
So you represent the potential buyers of the lot, you don't represent Flying J?
Correct. Flying
Okay.
J is now Pilot, and Pilot is ultimately the applicant, but they are requiring the buyer to pursue this process as they don't want any risk with entitlements.
Okay. So we don't have Pilot or Flying J here tonight, Ken, is that correct?
No, you don't, but they did, both the property owners, it did sign the application.
Okay,
They did sign the application, obviously as the owners of the property, and engaged MCR Engineering to separate the parcel out.
okay,
So
okay,
no issue with that.
cool, okay, thank you.
And just what is the motivation for needing to separate these out?
Well, the motivation is Pilot's offering the piece of property for sale, but you can't sell a piece of property that is, well, there's just one parcel there for the entire truck stop.
Okay,
And so, the only way to sell off it's less than 2 acres, it's just a touch under 2 acres, is to do this process,
this.
which is the first entitlement process, and then we'll follow up with a formal parcel map that would get recorded at the county, creating the legal lot that our clients can then purchase.
Just to give a little background on, Pilot did something very similar to the same thing when they actually split off the parcel for the truck wash that's on Santos
got
Avenue.
it.
So the truck wash is being built right now, or in the process of being built. So they split off that back section too. Like I said, in the 90s, when they came with their master plan, they had hopes of doing a truck wash in that back area and oil change and stuff for trucks. And they also had a hotel indicated on this site as future phases, but they just never pulled the trigger on those projects to do them. So they parceled off that back piece. AAA Truck Wash got entitled through the planning commission here, and they're moving forward right now with that. Similar process of what we're going through here, where Pilot's parceling off that piece as a for sale piece.
Got it. So the 1692 includes the existing facility. It's just the two.
Yeah, so the 16.92 includes the entire truck
Got
stop
it.
that's there now.
I think I was
minus
confused.
Minus the truck wash area, because that was
Okay.
all parceled off before. That includes the Denny's that's there, the little travel center that's there with the gas station and the diesel station and all the truck parking
Got
area.
it. Thank you for that. Okay.
So then I assume that any infrastructure, construction and all of that will be done by whoever buys the parcel and develops it, correct?
Yeah,
You know,
so any
curbs,
entitlement,
gutters.
after it's split off, any entitlement will come back in front of the planning commission, so you will see what the project ultimately will be, and that's when we will include, I guess, additional conditions with the project once we know what's going there.
Okay,
Most likely, we've already kind of talked to MCR Engineering, most likely we're gonna be looking for easements through their site so we can get to our park and ride lot that's in the back there that was put in. And then possibly doing some sort of a left turn pocket to be able to get into that site so you don't go all the way down to Santos and try to do a U-turn, which is actually illegal to do over there. So those are things that would come up once we see a design, stuff like that.
So those conditions are not attached to anything at this point, but those are
No,
the things
'cause
you
we
have
don't-
in mind?
Ultimately, we don't know what the project's gonna be,
Got it.
so
Okay.
so tonight, we're just looking at it, at splitting off this
a
parcel?
subdivision of land, yep.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name. I know it's Sean.
Yeah, Sean, Samaniego.
Okay, very good. Does anybody else have any questions for Sean?
Just to clarify again, we have no idea whatsoever that would go on the property. It's a development, looking to parcel it off to make money. Ken, this is zoned highway commercial, correct?
Yes, it's C4 highway commercial.
So some of the projects that could go there could include anything from fast food restaurants to,
Fast food restaurants, sit-down type restaurants can go there. Gas stations are allowed in C4, truck services, hotels, those type of uses.
thank you, Ken, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just
Appreciate it.
one more thing.
Sure,
Just to
absolutely.
touch on that, I'm not trying to expose too much, but Pilot is a service station today, so they're not gonna compete with themselves, just food for thought on that. I don't wanna say that there won't be a gas station, but it's highly unlikely that they're gonna allow,
Yeah,
an IHOP right next to Denny's or something along those lines.
okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments, guys?
Ken, are subdivisions common? Or is there like provisions and stuff like the county has with ag land and stuff like that, or? is it
They're common.
Yeah.
There's not provisions really for ag land and such unless we're annexing property into city limits. That's when they start looking for ag land mitigation. This is already within city limits, already been kind of slated for development back in the 90s. So any ag land mitigation would have taken place at that point.
I wasn't referring to it as like an ag land.
No, but yeah, anytime you're bringing property in that's got ag zoning on it into city limits, LAFCO looks for some sort of ag mitigation. But this has been in city limits since probably early 90s, slated for development and stuff, so that it's, no ag land mitigation would be appropriate for anything on the site.
So it's pretty standard to subdivide?
Yeah, we've done it multiple times. Like I said, we subdivided off where the truck wash is going. Actually, the gas station and car wash on this side, which is one of our next items up on the agenda here to talk about, they subdivided their piece. We subdivided some property over on Miljo and Arkway and Acacia there just so they can market it better. There was about a 3-acre piece over there that's still empty across from the mini storage that's zoned commercial, that they just kind of chopped it up to see if they can sell off smaller chunks of it versus one big piece. So not uncommon at all.
Very good, thank you. Without any other discussion, do we have a motion?
Yes, I will make a motion that we approve the Pilot Travel Center's tentative parcel map, PM 21-62, based on the findings and subject to the conditions of the staff report.
Second.
Very good, thank you, the motion passes. Appreciate you being here tonight, thank you. Yeah. Very good. Moving on, Ken, you want to talk about this partial right-of-way abandonment?
Yeah, love to. This is discussion item 2 here on the agenda tonight. It's the Jacktone Road Canal Boulevard partial right-of-way abandonment. A little housekeeping stuff from when we approved the gas station and car wash. A little history there is the years ago when Tractor Supply in Les Schwab was built, the council at that time looked at maybe doing a roundabout in that location. At that time, there was obviously a lot of issues with roundabouts going on in town, and so they decided against that at that location, but we had asked for some additional right-of-way in that area so we could put a larger roundabout in. We also acquired property on the south side of Canal Boulevard. There's a house that currently sits over there. So there was property acquired for a larger roundabout there. Since that time, the city's kind of changed ideas for that intersection in the future. If and when that road expands and canal extends westerly across Jacktone Road, that would be a full signalized intersection, much like Fulton Avenue has out there by the Michelin Sports Park, or even now at Colony and Hoff. We have a signal there as well. So that would be something that would go in the intersection. So that extra right-of-way for like the rounded corners was not going to be needed anymore. When the gas station came in with the proposed car wash on that corner, they designed it as such to where like some of the movements of the car wash and where the vacuum stations are sit over that area where that right-of-way was. We, at that time, made it a condition that they process an abandonment application, and we did approve the project in the condition it was, knowing it was going to be over that site. So this is just kind of the formal process that was a condition of their original project to come back in front of you guys for an abandonment. I did go to the city council last week. There's a 3-step process. It goes to city council first. They actually have it go to the planning commission so you guys can make a finding that it's consistent with the general plan. Then we will go back to city council where they will have adopt a resolution of abandonment, and that's how we officially abandon the right-of-way. We do have to post the site with an abandonment notice out there, so you might see some stakes driven in the ground with a little sign on it that kind of posts it for a period of time, and then after that the council will adopt that final resolution officially abandoning that portion. So that's what's in front of you this evening, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Guys, fire away if you have questions.
Is this gonna cause any delay on the construction of the car wash, which everybody really, really wants to happen?
No, it's not.
Okay.
They also were in the process of finalizing their parcel map, which they did come back in front of the planning commission to parcel off where the car wash was gonna be and the gas station. It's tied up at the county right now, and they've been trying to process it through there. There's about a 14-step process for a parcel map, and they're on like step 11. It's gotta come back to us, and the city council has to put it on their agenda to have the city engineer and the mayor sign the final map. So we're waiting for it to come back, waiting for those signatures, and that would finalize the parcel map area, and then they can get some of their loan and lending lined up on those sites. So they are anticipating about a 10 to 12 month build on that project. They did have a groundbreaking about 2 or 3 weeks ago on the site where they cleared kind of all the weeds out of there. The mayor and myself went out and got to dig a little dirt, I
Dug a
guess. They
hole.
wanted some pictures for groundbreaking. Luckily, they got the backhoe out and scooped up a fresh pile of dirt, so we didn't have to dig too hard. But yeah, so it's moving forward. They're through plan check on the gas station convenience market side of it, finalizing their plan check on the car wash side of it, and then should be seeing something here shortly.
So I think once before we had a vacation of some land, so I'm kind of intrigued by that concept of calling it a vacation. So, you know, I'm just all into it, yeah. We did that once before, remember that?
Everybody's
Yeah.
for vacation, right?
It's this vacation thing.
That's right. Okay, anybody else? I don't see any issues with it. Is there anything that's ever come up historically that created an issue on a situation like this where something was vacated?
No, not really. The only thing that we made sure of, obviously, is that we still had enough right-of-way there for our signal at some point, which we do.
and we do.
Like I said, we just got rid of some extra property that we ended up getting, so, yeah, we've never ran into that. We pretty sure before we give property away to something like this that we don't need it for anything, so.
Okay,
Yeah, to get a car wash like this, I'd even give them something else if we have to, so.
yeah, I think people are rather anxious, so, okay. Very good then. I'm assuming we need to take a vote on that then, or to send it back? Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion on this?
Nobody found it sooner?
It's on your paper if you want to read it.
I know, that's what I'm looking for. I'll make a motion that the planning commission approves the pilot travel center's tentative parcel map.
Nope,
Oh,
that's-
geez, I went behind.
It's the next one.
Let's
yeah.
reapprove that.
It's a vacation.
Yeah. So vacation, do we get it back? Okay. Where the heck is it?
Front page, bottom right paragraph, if you have the printed one.
Yeah. Geez, I can't find it, guy. You sure? I make a motion that the planning commission approve the proposed vacation of a portion of the public right-of-way intersection of Jacktone and Canal Boulevard adjacent to 710 Jacktone Road conforms to the general plan.
Very good.
Well read.
They don't have vote as an option.
I'll
right?
second. You have to,
Highlighted. Thank you. Okay, and then you guys can do your thing there. Deb, you second?
Yep.
Thank you.
already voted.
Okay, and that is adopted as well. Thank you. And we move to public hearing. Assuming that since there's no one else here, I don't need to go through all the the instructions there, so we'll just move directly to you, Ken.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. It's just a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Every now and again, we go through our municipal code to clean up, obviously, some areas that we discover over time when people start applying the code that we have some issues sometimes here and there, and there's just general housekeeping items. So we did kind of go through several of our chapters here. Chapter 1620, office and commercial districts, 1624, which is our industrial districts, and 1626, which is our mixed-use districts. We did update quite a few little areas in there. Some of the stuff that was updated in there was to just kind of align some of the uses with square footages and such that matched acreages for property. So you'll notice, like in the C1 neighborhood commercial areas, we actually kind of added some language in there that dealt with parcels, individual parcels and shopping centers, so a combination of them both. And then the community commercial, where we kind of started getting into adding or modifying a little bit of the square footages. We have some community commercial shopping centers here in town that exist currently, like the Ace Hardware Center, which is not even 50,000 square feet, but it's community commercial. We say in here our community commercial was anywhere from 50,000 square feet up to 100,000 square feet. So to kind of bring them back into compliance, or not, they weren't. They were a non-conforming use is kind of what we would call them. So in order to bring them back into conformance with the code, and actually align projects to the way they would really lay out. A lot of projects can't fit more than that type of square footage on a piece of property, especially like a 3.5 acre site. You start looking at parking, landscaping, buildings, you just can't physically fit 50,000 square feet on a 3 acre site. So we did a lot of just kind of straightening out of the code there where it didn't kind of coincide with each other. And that's some of the uses. And then the bigger change that we went through, just because we had been getting some interest on it from time to time, was in the hotel motel section. So in all those zones, in the commercial zones, in the industrial zones, in the mixed-use zones, we did allow up to 4-story buildings in our zone, in those zones with a use permit, and had to be certain distances away from residential districts and such. But when I got to hotels and motels, it was kind of set at a 3-story max. And that was specifically for safety reasons from the fire department at that time. They've since then kind of changed their approach to that. They have a ladder truck now that they can service a 4-story building. So we did put some changes into our code that would allow up to a 4-story hotel. Wouldn't look any different than a 4-story building that's allowed to be built. It's just, like I said, we did have some interest here and there from time to time of somebody wanting to look at some of those type of structures. So we thought it was prudent to kind of align all the building heights across our non-residential zones so they all matched. And that, since the fire district doesn't have an issue from a safety perspective anymore on those, then they were fine with that change. So that's kind of the major change that's in here, along with just some of the other cleanups. So we basically took those cleanups through all those chapters, the non-residential chapters, and that's really what you're seeing in the charts. Everywhere kind of in red is where we made some changes to those. I won't go through all those in depth, but if you do have some questions, I can answer them specifically for you. So with that being said, I guess I'll turn that back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and see if you have any questions. If the commission has any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer those. It is a public hearing. I guess we'd open it up to the public and see if there's any comments on it. But other than that, I will relinquish it to you.
We're not doing any emails or call-ins at all anymore, right? So, okay.
Was there changes with the landscaping requirements? I thought I read that.
Yeah, let me see where that was. There was one section in there that I think we did update.
I asked because we seemed pretty strict on that about a couple months ago.
Yeah, we didn't lessen them at all. It was just unclear in one section, so we put it in a clarifying remark on the landscaping. We also allowed in certain zones where there's what we call parkway, so where there's the area between the curb and the sidewalk. There's a lot of times there's 10 feet of landscaping there. And then some of the zones, we would have 15 feet of landscaping behind the sidewalk. Well, whenever there's that parkway, what is what we call it, we allowed some of the zones to lessen their landscaping to their parking lot area to 10 feet. So you still get 20 feet of landscaping plus like 6 feet of sidewalk. So we just took that standard across, if it made sense for like the commercial district, it should make sense in light industrial as well. So that was some of the clarifying, the things that we added to the code to where they differed from each other and not really for good reasons. So we just kind of made some consistency between them. So yeah, we're not going backwards on landscaping. Landscaping is very important, so.
Okay, because, yeah, when I was reading it, it said like at the planning's discretion, and I was like, okay, so are we changing the percent there? With that term discretion, does the landscaping standard change?
No, and it does not change on that. Where was that section there?
I think it's in the very end. Minimum required street side perimeter landscaping, maximum lot area building coverage percentage. Is that what you're referring to?
Probably talking about, so when you get into the mixed use zones, we actually look at the use that's being proposed, and that's how we apply our standards. So mixed use covers a lot of, there's a lot of different uses that can go in that mixed use. You can be commercial related, you can be office type use, or you can be in light industrial type uses. So if you're a light industrial user going into a mixed use area, then we can apply the light industrial standards to you. That's what the discretion is. So we would actually flip back to the chapter before where light industrial is or commercial is, and that's how we would apply the standards to their development.
Okay.
I don't think anything else jumped out at me.
No, that was it with me.
Ken, where would it be controversial? Where would we ever have any issues by going up to four-story buildings with this?
Well, there's no four-story buildings in town, so just a
yeah.
four-story building.
I think we have a three-story hotel, don't we? That's our
We do have a
top-
three-story hotel.
Yeah.
La Quinta is three-story. That's the only three-story building we have in town at this point. So, we don't necessarily have a four-story building, but we do have, maybe Alpine Climbing Gym would be
true.
considered like a four-story if you're looking at height of that building. They still might be a little shy of the overall height that we would allow as a four-story building.
Do you see any residential areas that would have really tall buildings close by that would be
Well,
objectionable?
There is setbacks proposed in there for, if you're going 4 stories, you have to be 200 feet away from any residential district line. So there, you're talking,
Yeah, note one on table 16242.
you're talking, so just to give you kind of a reference, the right-of-way out there on River Road, so sidewalk to sidewalk, that's 140 feet.
Yeah.
So you add another 60 feet to that, would be the 200-foot separation. Not that they wouldn't see a building that's 4 stories tall, but I mean, it does give a little bit of separation to that. So that's, just a 4-story building, it could, depending on the looks of it and such, could, might in and of itself be a little controversial for town here, for Ripon.
With the size of it, we wouldn't see anything going in the downtown area unless it was very close to the freeway? Is that
I don't
correct?
think the 4-story is allowed even in the downtown, though.
Okay.
Double check that here.
Didn't we had to do a variance for the 50 feet at the climbing gym, correct? 50-foot height?
Yeah.
That was a use permit, so, yeah, if you get over 2 stories, you go through a use permit process.
Okay, so anything that's gonna be proposed at 3 or 4, we're gonna have to go through that process again anyhow,
Right.
so we'll have some discussion on it.
Say that.
We might do a 4-story parking structure for the ACE train. That'd be
I mean,
downtown.
It could be a potential, who knows, yeah.
So does this make an added-on requirement for the fire department? Let's say a 4-story building does get built, are they always required at that point to maintain that truck?
Yeah, well, that's why we actually, they were okay with 4-story buildings, up to 4-story buildings, just not hotels, back in the day when they didn't have a lot of truck.
Uh-huh.
So now that they have it, they're fine with it, yeah, but I guess it would be a requirement for them to maintain, make sure that thing's in operation at all times.
Okay.
Um,
Any other questions? Okay. Would someone
So
like to-
this is
Oh, go
a,
ahead.
it is a public hearing, but
Right.
it's also, you guys are making a recommendation to the
Right.
city council. So if there's any changes you think you might want that are different than what's being proposed here, let us know what you'd want to recommend to city council on it.
For me, it all seemed pretty straightforward. I thought it was all very appropriate.
So I would make a motion that we recommend that the city council approve the amendments to the chapters as listed based on the findings in the staff report.
Second.
Can I get the vote turned on here, please? Thank you. Again, it is adopted 4-0. Thanks for all your work on that. Nice cleanup. All right, well, that concludes the agenda items. Do we have any reports?
Yeah, not a lot of exciting stuff this evening, but just a lot of little housekeeping items here. We do have a meeting, an item for next month's meeting, and it's just our annual development agreement review, so
Okay,
you guys get to obviously come down for about a 5-minute meeting. And we did get a,
What's the date of that meeting? We didn't get a calendar this year. I guess because the other code terms on here.
that meeting will be the 18th of October.
October 18th?
Yep. And we do have an item already for our November meeting. We have a use permit application for a downtown cigar lounge, essentially. So, somebody wanting to convert some space into a cigar lounge that would serve
When is the November meeting? What's the date on that?
15th, November 15th. So that'll be in front of the planning commission for the November meeting. It's a cigar lounge that would serve, they would sell cigars and people can have memberships there if they want, or go in and they would serve some fine whiskeys and stuff to go with those.
Interesting.
It's a proposed use for you to ponder come November.
Wow. Ken, what about the brewery? Is that thing dead?
One that was at NNS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled, the people that got that approved, they pulled out shortly after they got approved. They
Okay.
started, I think, looking at cost to add on, they were gonna add on to the back of the building
Right.
and such, and just started looking at cost of getting all the improvements in there, and decided not to move forward
I
with it.
understand that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's only gotten more expensive since then. Yeah. Okay. Any commissioners' reports? Seeing none, I think we're wrapping it up for the evening. Thank you, guys. We're adjourned. 30.